Hi Anil, good evening.
Hi Manisha, good evening.
Could you please open your PPT?
Is my screen visible to you?
Yeah.
Today we will be seeing under the attribute dimension. So what is the attribute dimension? Attribute dimensions are the special type of dimensions that are associated with the business rules. These contain the members that are used to specify the members of another associated dimension in their properties. Let's see where we can use these attribute dimensions. In this topic, we will be able to see this attribute dimension in the following artifacts like data form, RTPs, like runtime prompts, business rules, and smart view. Let's see how can we create the attribute dimension. So what is attribute dimension in general? Give me an example of this attribute dimension in Amazon Lab. See, let's see attribute dimensions are the special type of dimensions which are created for using the specifications for the characteristics like color, size, everything of the product. Let's take an example under the Amazon app. In the Amazon app, we see number of products like from electronics to A to Z, from ranges from that. In this we can see the size, what are the sizes for shirts like small, medium, large, like that. For example, the color which provides the attribute property, red, yellow, green, every rest of the colors, like that we can specify these type of attributes. They are called attributes for these related for this size, everything. These are the parameters that can be involved in this Amazon art. Next question. Can you explain the difference between a standard dimension and the attribute dimension? See, the business rule, the standard dimension means they are created during the application creation, and whereas this attribute dimension can be created within the dimension which relates to the sparse dimension, and they are created under the dimension. In which case do you prefer the attribute dimension or the standard dimension? Whereas the attribute dimension can be used in a specific scenario for describing the qualities and their characteristics of the data, we can use that in that scenario. Fourth question, can we use the attribute dimension to a dense or sparse dimension? The answer is yes, we can use in the sparse dimension only. Can you show me how to create an attribute dimension? Let's see in the navigation part, how can we create an attribute dimension? First of all, log into our application. Let's navigate to the dimension part. In the create and manage, click on the dimensions. In the performance settings, we can see what are the type of dimensions belongs to which cube. In this, we can create this attribute dimension in the sparse dimension only. What are the sparse dimension members here? Moment, period, consolidation, data source, currency, intercompany, multi-gap, product, scenario, years, view, and entity, which belongs to sparse dimension only. We can create this attribute dimension to the specified dimensions. Let's see how can we create an attribute dimension here. Navigate to any dimension. I am taking the entity as a dimension here. Select the ancestor dimension. As you can see here, in the menu bar, there is an icon called custom attributes. We can select it here, or we can select it under the actions. Under the actions, there is a custom attribute icon here menu. Using this icon, or you can press Ctrl+0. You can click on that for creating a custom attribute here. This is the menu. We can create this custom dimension attribute here. By pressing the plus icon, we can create the attribute dimension name and followed by the data type, whether it is a text or date, or boolean means 0 or 1, numeric means other than the values from 0 to 9, or in the numeric value. Anything we can give specification giving on the purpose. For example, I have taken the region attribute dimension here. We can create under that. Previously had US and Europe. I'm creating under the attribute dimension member. Click on the child. I'm giving the name as Africa. Click on save. Like this, we can give number of attribute members. Select the attribute dimension. Click on the child here. Give the name Canada. I'm taking the example here. Click on save. Like this, we can give and create the attribute dimension here. Can you show how to assign attribute dimension to a standard dimension? We have created the custom attribute dimension here. Click on close. Select the entity. Expand the hierarchy. I'm assigning 1 N01 underscore 05 New York 1. For assigning to the standard dimension, click on the edit icon here. Click on edit. Navigate to here attribute values. As we can see, these options here that are previously created just now, like attribute dimension here in region. Under the dimensions, we have the members like USA, Europe, Africa, Canada. You can assign these attribute values to this dimension, standard dimension, like click on the attribute dimension value, click on add. It will add it like this. Click on save. In this way, we can add and assign a dimension to a standard dimension. Can you show me the attribute dimension number to a standard dimension? Like this, we can add these attribute dimension to a standard dimension. When we do these attribute changes to the metadata, we have to do compulsory a database refresh. Click on the database refresh here, or else we can do in the under the application card. Click on the overview. Under the actions, we can select the database refresh. Because we are dealing with the metadata, the database needs to be refreshed. Let's see. Let's continue with the slide 4. Can you show the how to create an attribute dimension in the data form in the page drop down? Okay, we can see this usage of this attribute dimension in the data forms. Once the database refresh part completes, we get navigate to the database data forms. It usually takes from 3 to 4 minutes. This database refresh part. The database refresh got completed. Let's navigate under the data forms. For that, we are under the create and manage, click on the forms. You can create a new form or use an existing form. I'm using an existing form. The form name is about test attribute. The layout is I have taken the rows is rows on total assets under rows, and the columns is N01 underscore 05 and 06, and rest of the things have under POV like Jan. Scenario is actual. I have taken the entity currency. This is data input. Intercompany has no intercompany. Product has no product. Financial year FY22, and periodic FCS periodic, and movements are under no movements. Consolidation is entity input, and I taken the multi gap as local gap. We can see the preview of this form. See, this is the row under New York. Under the cache, these have these details like I have provided these data. Now, how can we see? Let's see under our presentation. Use any of the existing attribute form. If not available, create another form as the region. Okay, we have already created this region part. This dimension and randomly assign these numbers to them. This missing. They are, can you move this attribute dimension to the POV and select this amount of the can you do. Let's see under the navigation part how can we do it. When we create these attribute dimension, we can see these attribute dimensions here under the form. As we created one, the region, we can assign it to the POV. By dragging this, we can add to the POV section, and we can see the preview like this. Under that, as we can see, under the POV, we have assigned EN01 underscore 05 New York. For this, we have assigned these USA so that it EN01 underscore 06 Boston has been eliminated. Like this, we can add these to the POV, or we can add these under the page for selecting. We can add this to the row. Under the rows, I am selecting. Under the region, I am taking the USA here. Click on save. Click on preview. As we can see, these entities has been affected by these attribute dimension. We can see under the rows. Similarly, we can assign it to the columns also. As we can see, these attribute dimension in the rows, 2 columns has been moved to successfully. And depending on this, we can see the specification of this data. Under the page, we can select these total ones as we can change these as taking the children. Click on save. Click on the preview. We can change these parameters here by clicking the region. Under the page, we can select in the runtime also. We can select this. This justifies our attribute using of this attribute dimension in the data forms. Let's see how can we use this attribute dimension in the runtime prompts. For this, we have to navigate to the rules card here. Under the create and manage, click on the rules, and separate window will be opened. Calculation manager. Click on the actions. Under the actions, click on the variable designer. Let's see the first question. Can we assign a attribute dimension or an attribute dimension members to the RTP? The answer is yes. If yes, can you show me how to assign an attribute dimension to the dimensions of RTP? Example, can you show me a few attributes linked to the RTP? Example, show only APAC and Europe and tip about it for a slide 4. Let's see. Under the variable designer, in the left panel, expand the EPAM cloud. Under the application, expand the application, click on the console. As we can see, for creating the new one, click on the actions, click on the new, give the name. For example, I am giving the attribute name as attribute. Take the type of these data type as a member. As we can see under the dimension, these are the system generated dimensions, and we can see the attribute dimension also here. For example, we have created the region attribute dimension here. Click on that and enable the RTP check mark here. We can highlight the limits here. For selecting the limits under, click on select. We have two options. One is member, or we can select the function. There is a two process called. There is a two process. We can select members. Under the region, we can select any of these members here. For example, in the presentation, they have taken APAC and Europe here. I'm taking here as USA and Europe. Add to this. Like this, we can add these member here. We can limit these RTP values to USA and Europe. For default value, we can take any of the member, or we can take the member function here. Like this, we can select the members, or you can use the function also here. Click on the function. These are all the functions that are available under these RTPs, like taking the attributes. We can take the attributes name here also. For example, under the attribute member, I am taking the member. Click on the region here. You can take these variables also here like this. There are two ways possible for this applying. One is directly taking the members, or we can use the function method here. There are a number of functions that are available for taking this. Like from all ancestors to these type of functions that are available here under our application. Depending on the functionality, we can use these functions. Click on please provide these text value here. Click on save. Like this, RTP has been created successfully. Let's see how can we use these attribute dimensions in business rules. For this, navigate to the system view. Expand the EPM cloud. Expand the application. Expand the console. Click on the rules. Expand them. These are all the predefined rules that are created during the application, that are FCCS_0102 to FCCS_70, or you can create the custom rule by clicking the rules, selecting that, click on right click, and we can create the new one. That's how I created the custom rule 1. Click on open. This is the editor. We can use the commands here like fix and closed by end fix. In this parenthesis, we can provide these RTP values here. I'm giving the newly created RTP here. For example, attrib, click on save. The variable has been assigned under this. Can you show me the functions available in the attributes that are in the BR? As you can see, the function has been taken. Previously, I explained here. Now we can see how can we deploy this under the business rule. These attribute dimensions can be deployed. Let's validate this syntax here. Clicking on this icon, we can validate this function. As you can see, this rule has been validated without errors. So we can deploy this to our application. For deploying this, we have to select the actions. Under the actions, click on the deploy or use the keyboard shortcut as Ctrl+Shift+D. Click on deploy. The deployment was successful. Let's see in our application. Select the rules card here. Launch the specified custom rule here. As we can see, these two are the RTPs that are created under the entity attribute. One is the USA that has been used for member and selection, and this one as the using the function. As we can limit for member selection, we have taken the 2-1 USA and Europe. This has been limited by using the limited function, and we can see this usage of this attribute dimension in business rules. Now let's see how can we use this attribute dimension in the smart view. Can you show me how to insert the attribute in a smart view? Can you show me a report for attribute dimension? Use two attribute dimensions of each element associated, enter any random numbers in those combinations. Explain them. How can we report attribute dimension as an example? Attribute dimension as an example. Click on the Excel. Open the Excel. Connect the smart view. Expand the hierarchy here. Select the predefined, or we can select the forms that are available here. Click on the ad hoc analysis. This is the form, and we can add the attribute dimensions. Directly we can give the details. For example, USA, that is an attribute dimension that member created. Click on enter, and we can refresh the database here. Or else we can give the dimension name here, region. Click on refresh. As we can see, the attribute dimension can be added here like this. As we can specify this usage of attribute dimension in the smart view. Now we can conclude there's a using of attribute dimension in these artifacts like data forms, in runtime prompts, in the business rules, and the smart view. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil.